The purpose of this show is to guide you to realign with habits that get you to live the life you've always dreamed of. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with Jesse Ewing. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle, where you can access your full potential right now. Finally break free from destructive habits. That dream life, if you want it, you can have it. This is where you transform your health, mind, business, and relationships. Or do nothing and keep your life the way it is. But if you're ready for change, you're in the right place. This is where you're gonna learn how to live a habit-based lifestyle. You are tuning in to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Jesse Ewing. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle. Let's go.
All right, guys, welcome to today's episode of the Habit-Based Lifestyle and Business Secrets. Today, we're going to be talking specifically about business. And inside of this, we're going to be talking about customized coaching versus group coaching, and how we kind of get into this today is talking through a specific framework that really shows you the difference. And the reason why I want to talk about this today is because, I get to interview a lot of people who talk about being in coaching programs. I get to interview a lot of people who, say, hey, they're in multiple programs. They don't need coaching. And they all say the same thing when I ask this question that I'm about to ask you. But we're not going to get there yet. So I want to back up. If you guys are watching this and you're tuning in live, hashtag live. If you are coming back on and watching the replay later on, just hashtag replay. So I know that you are watching this. I'm going to turn this down. And so hashtag live. There we go. All right. So as we get into today's episode, I want you guys to participate. So if you are watching this, make sure that, you're participating, not only participating, but make sure that you are, ready, to be here. You're ready to learn. You have a clear and open mind, and you are ready to receive what's going to come out of today's show. And so let's talk through coaching. And so, kind of this concept I came up with, which is customized conversation, customized coaching, versus in a group setting versus kind of the traditional group setting. Now, a lot of people, will come to me and they'll say, well, what's different about what you guys do? And, as I get into this today, I want you to understand that many of the people that I get to interview every single week to come into, habit-based lifestyle, they have done previous coaching. They've had previous coaches, or they currently have coaches. And I find, a lot of people come in here have coaches, but they are in a group coaching program. I'm not going to mention any programs out there because at the end of the day, I believe in coaching. I believe coaching is the thing that really helps us accelerate, our life, our way of living. I also think it's a great way for us to, not make the same mistakes. And it's a way for us to learn quicker. Like, why not hire someone to get me from point A to point B? If they can help me accelerate that. So as I'm talking through this today, I want you to understand that if you are one of these people that are in, a different style of coaching program, it's not that I don't believe in those. It's just that what I believe in has been from my experience. And I have 20 years of coaching experience inside of, health, fitness, lifestyle, and also business coaching. And so as I'm telling you this is from my own experience. This isn't from some theory. And so I want you to realize that this is simply something I want to share from my experience. Doesn't make something right or wrong. I believe all coaching is really meant for us to get better. And I'm going to stand by that regardless of what it is, regardless of what I believe. Do I believe that all, coaching is great? No, but I also believe that doing some type of coaching is better than doing nothing. So with that being said, I think the number one question and number one thing people say when they come in is like, hey, I already have a coach, I don't need another one. Or, hey, I'm in this coaching program with this, person that, is a professional. And these are well-known people too. So I don't want you to think like, hey, I'm talking bad about these people, but I know in the chiropractic space, I know in kind of the business space, there's a lot of coaches out there. And I think the biggest thing everyone says is like, hey, I'm already in a coaching program, I don't need another coach. And I'll say, okay, good. You're in a coaching program, but let me ask you this. You're in this coaching program with this professional, but how many times have you ever got coaching from them one-on-one, a customized conversation that got you to move from where you're at to where you want to go? And I will tell you that 98% of them will tell you that they've never actually got coaching directly from that person. Whether it be one-on-one or whether it be in a customized conversation where it's like, hey, here's my problem. How do I get to here and do it faster? And all of those people, 98% of them will say the same thing. Like, I don't get coaching from them. And so they're in a group setting, they're in a group model. And I'll often say, okay, well, tell me how your group coaching goes. And they all say the same thing. The one person that they signed up with controls the entire conversation, and they talk about, what they want to talk about. And I've been in these, like it simply ends up being kind of a motivation session, not really a coaching session. And so as we get into this today, I want you to know the difference between what we call customized coaching, the benefits of this versus group coaching, which tend to be more kind of a big name star, big name person. And they tend to give you coaching around, teaching. So a lot of this is becomes teaching and becomes motivation. They get super intense, maybe, they're great at speaking, but there is no customized conversation, which we're going to go over today, is more in depth. It gives someone a specific instruction of where they need to go, how they're going to get there, and it gives them a path and a plan to do it. Motivation or this other type of group coaching, we can just call it, it gives someone information, it gives someone knowledge, but it's not necessarily giving someone a path. They have to create their own path. They have to create their own customized, plan. There is no breakthrough. What do I mean by breakthrough? A breakthrough is maybe a breakthrough of a thought, a breakthrough of a feeling, or breakthrough of something feeling like it's holding us back. Like maybe we're stuck. And there's no way to get unstuck inside of a group model where everybody's getting coached the same. Everybody's kind of being taught the same thing. But there is no feedback. And I will say that, inside of more of a group coaching model, there's not a lot of individualized feedback. So in that, we often would leave a call, very hyped up, very excited, but we don't really have an action step or action guide of how we do things. And so in doing that, we miss out on the benefit of coaching. And the other thing is there's a lot of teaching, there's a lot of talking, but there's not a lot of coaching. And at the end of the day, we sign up with people because of coaching. And so that is kind of a traditional group coaching model. Where I want to take you is into a customized coaching model that we actually do inside a habit-based lifestyle. This is a model that I actually learned with all of my years doing fitness and nutrition was, I was a personal trainer who started out, 20, 21 years, going on 22 years actually. And one of the things that we were known for is, we did a lot of one-on-one training. Well, when we started to transition into group coaching, um, one of the things that clients would come to me and say is like, man, I don't feel like I'm getting that individualized instruction. I don't feel like I'm having someone pay attention to me. I feel like someone's just kind of managing the session. And so that's similar to what I see today is people are managing their clients and managing if they're in the room, not in the room, managing the energy, but they're not actually managing each individual person. And so if you're listening to this, let me know. Number one, are you in some type of coaching program? I know we got some listeners on right now, but what are you hearing me say in this? If you're in a coaching program, maybe just let me know. Yeah, I can relate to this, or no, I don't feel like this is the style of coaching I get. But I can tell you that most of the people I talk to, this is their number one complaint, just like I had with this, client way back in the day. And so as I kind of sat down, I was like, hey, thank you so much for sharing this with me. I said, you know, what do you like about it? They said, I love the group camaraderie. I love, the networking, being able to be in a group with like-minded people. I just wish there was more coaching. And I said, okay, let me ask you this. If you felt like you had a customized workout in a group setting, would that hit kind of everything that you wanted? And they would say, yeah, I would love to do that because I really like the group. I like the atmosphere. I like all these things. And so we began to walk down this path of, being able to train 3 people, 5 people, 10 people, 20 people in a group setting to where we could give them individualized instruction, a custom conversation, customized coaching in a group setting. So they felt like they were getting their needs met one-on-one, but they also got to hear feedback from other people. They got to see feedback from other people doing exercises correctly. So they got to see the right way. They got to see other people maybe not do things the right way. And I can remember like training a lot of my clients to the point where I had given them so much customized coaching and conversation that they could actually coach other members and be like, hey, don't do this way, do it this way. And inside of that, there was the ultimate place that they could begin to learn from others because, in customized coaching, the biggest part of this is we get individualized coaching. We get individualized instruction, but the benefit is that we get to learn from others. We get more people to participate in our group. We get more people to share. We get more people to open up, and we get people to ultimately give feedback. And inside of that feedback comes some of the most important lessons that we'll ever learn. We have actionable specifics. I remember, sitting in the middle of sessions and being like, okay, here's what we're going to do for a squat. And I remember, at times having 10 different clients that maybe were in 10 different areas of a squat pattern. And I had to adjust on the fly, 10 different variations of a squat for 10 different people. And seeing each person be able to perform an exercise at their level, and knowing that I could customize each exercise for the level that person was at, that really told me that, hey, I could do this in a group setting. And so as we started adding, 3 people, 5 people, 10 people, 15 people, 20 people to a group, I started teaching this concept of customized coaching and individualized coaching in a group setting. And so ultimately what we've been able to do is take that same concept and move it over into habit-based lifestyle. And that's what we do inside of here. And so I fully believe in group coaching, but the model I believe in is the model that we've created and the model I've learned over the last 10, 12 years, which is this customized coaching. And there's so many benefits to this. The cool thing is, we get to give people individualized instruction. We're not going to sit there for an hour with someone. I'm not going to sit there with 30 minutes with someone, but what I am going to sit there and do is spend 10 to 15 minutes with someone to where I give them a real specific coaching. It's individualized to their situation, what they have going on. They get to learn from others, which ultimately sometimes hearing others talk about their problems, what they're going through, gives us the opportunity to learn and grow through that also. So if you guys are on this, I'm just gonna share a couple of things. So we got Travis. This topic is a common problem. It's nice to blend to help manage time and also let people feel heard and attended to. So here's the number one thing I'll say is, most people don't like group coaching because they don't feel like they get individualized attention. Most people like one-on-one coaching because, or if they do like one-on-one better, it's because they're getting individualized coaching. Now, here's the two problems. One-on-one is too much individualized coaching. People are still hiding, in a sense, hiding their problems. They don't want people to hear about them, and they feel alone and like they're the only one. And so, where I've seen that is after about 2 to 3 months, that becomes a big problem. People continue to stay hiding in their problems. I can remember, coaching clients for a year, and it's like, hey man, we've had this same conversation for the last, year, and it seems to come back up every 2 to 3 months. And you still haven't worked on this, or you still haven't worked through this, where if they're in a group setting, you can hear other people have similar problems to you. So number one, you don't feel alone. Number two, you can get your learning taken care of and relate to that person and relate it to yourself and how this fits into your life. And sometimes this is your greatest aha moment, is getting you to move from there into an actionable step. Because if I listen to someone have a very similar problem to me, I'm going to be able to work through that at the same time. The other part of this is, people want to feel heard. They want to feel like they have time to talk through things. But what I know is this: in a traditional group model, most people will hide. The same people that ask questions will always be the same people that ask questions. The same people that hide will always be the same people that hide. And then you kind of have people in the middle that every once in a while they'll have some courage and they'll step out and ask a question, or they'll go back to hiding. And that is where I see the biggest problem is people just don't say what's going on. And so we really have to give them an opportunity and a voice to be able to do that. And that is one thing that we really strive to do every time we get on a call, is to make sure that we have someone that has the floor, has an opportunity to talk about something. Whether they do or not, that is really their choice. But most of the time we can feel if they have something going on or not. And so we can dive into that a little bit more. I want to read through a couple things. So Nick talked about, hey, biggest aha moments I've ever heard is listening to what another person is going through and becoming aware I'm dealing with the same thing. Exactly. Which is why I love a customized coaching model, is because we can dive into something in 5-10 minutes and get them out of it. Versus, hey, okay, we're going to talk about the problem, but we're never actually going to do anything specific with it. And that's what I really see a lot of times is the traditional group coaching model is like, hey, we're going to talk about the problem. We're going to teach you about the problem, but we're not going to tell you how to get out of that. And we're not going to say, listen, how is this showing up specifically in your life? How can we begin to work through this? You don't get feedback from others. And when we don't get feedback from others, sometimes that feedback is the most crucial thing that we get, is just being able to hear other people, being able to have people mirror us, and then getting into actionable specifics. Like if I get on a coaching call and I come in to that and I leave the same exact way, or the only thing I leave with is motivation, the only thing I leave with is hype, that wears off. What doesn't wear off is an actionable step that someone has held me accountable to. So the next time I show up on a call, I better have done the work, or, I'm just choosing not to. And doing that, I'm actually hurting my own learning. I'm hurting myself. And ultimately, there's just a higher level of commitment when you're in a group coaching environment where there is customized coaching and individualized conversations, to where it's like, hey, are you committed to doing this? And everybody's listening to you. There's a higher level of commitment that comes with that you don't get from a group motivation model. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I mean, I think there's some great motivators out there, but at the end of the day, hype and motivation will not get the work done. That will burn off in about an hour to 2 hours. So yeah, guys, let me know what you're hearing if you're listening to this. Like, what are you hearing as I'm teaching this in this model? Because I know that a lot of people misinterpret what coaching is to just being in a group with, some entrepreneur or some dude who made it. The other thing I'll see a lot of times is like, we have guys that are, making, hundreds of millions. We're in a group and we're making, $100,000. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you want to do? And they're like, dude, I want to make $5 million. I'm like, man, you made $100,000. You're in a group coaching program with a guy who is, worth $100 million. And there's this huge gap that you're nowhere even close to that. Like, why don't you scale it back and be like, man, I want to make 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, because all those numbers I got to hit before I ever get to that next number. The other thing is this. I believe, yeah, we can learn from people who are ahead of us, but imagine if, you hired a trainer and the dude was like a professional bodybuilder and you're this guy who just wants to be better, more healthy, you want to be fit and those things. And you're all of a sudden training with this guy and he's trying to turn you into a bodybuilder. That's not really what you want to be, but because you think he's cool and he's ahead of you, that you're like, hey, I'm going to get this instruction from him. There's a point in time where your coach or a teacher may be too far ahead of you to where you're seeing something you don't even have the same vision as them, in the sense of there's no way that you want to really be this, but yet you're following this person and there's just too big of a gap. And so I would say this is like, there's a certain time and place where that's important. But I also think there's a certain time and place where you could say, listen, this guy's like ahead of me, but he's not so far ahead of me that he's going to misunderstand what I ultimately want. And that's where, we have to have a technique. We have to be able to correct people and say, listen, you may not be where I am, but here's the things that I did along the way to get me to where I am. These are the things that you can begin to do. These are the mistakes that I made along the way. And this is going to definitely save you some time and save you money. But inside of this, I believe there's a regression or progression model that we have to be able to teach our clients to get them to where they want to be. And I have a system that I coach people by. I have a system that I want people to follow, but that system is not so rigid to where I won't change things up, along the way. And in doing that, it's like, hey, everybody in my program needs to do a squat. That's true, but the variation of the squat depends on each person. And so everybody in my program needs to do marketing, where they start, where they begin. Yes, I have a framework, but I also know that, the driver for some people could be money. The driver for some people could be power. The driver could be, for some people, they want to help people. And so there's a lot of different drivers we have in helping people, and them helping others, but I cannot coach them all to where they just want to make more money. And so I have to mix that up and say, okay, well, listen, this person is driven off power. This person's driven off money. So how can I access that for them for it to make sense? And that's really, yes, everybody, I want to be able to do this thing, but the way that they do it and the how isn't always the same. And I can hold on to that, or I can say, well, listen, maybe I just need to get better at customizing that for them to make sense. Where if I expect everybody to fit, in this hole that I've created, then what ends up happening is I actually, end up getting frustrated with my clients. All right, let me read these. Big difference between group coaching program versus a networking motivation. Yeah, like I think a lot of the coaching programs is like, number one, group coaching you can scale. Yeah, like let's just be honest about that. But once the scaling loses your ability to have customized conversation, now it's no longer an effective model of coaching. It's now kind of a networking, model of a program. And yeah, you'll bring in coaches and things like that to support them. But ultimately, we want to be able to have customized access, customized conversation to where we feel like we're being taught, and are, we're getting corrected what needs to be corrected so that we can move forward inside of our business and inside of our life. Hype, motivation will not get the work done. So true. You need that good hype, but you need guidance in the journey and need the personal coaching to get there. So here's what I'll tell you. I am not really a hype person. I'm more of an action person. So with that being said, there's some coaches that are a lot of hype, little action. And I tend to say that the person with more hype has little action. The person with less hype has more action. And so I tend to be kind of, one or the other. I tend to be the guy that's like, hey, I don't really care what you say. I don't really care about any of that stuff. Like, show me. And that's my thing. I know other people are different, and that's okay. But I will say this, that at the end of the day, it comes down to action and the results that you get. Either way, whatever helps you get action, whatever helps you get the results more, that's on you. But I mean, I'm more of an action person. Some people love hype. Whatever it takes to get you hyped up, that's awesome. So, I remember playing sports. Some guys got hyped before games. I was a little more quiet. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna do my talking on the field, and then I turn into somebody else, and I get hype on the field. But before the game, after the game, I just kind of sit back and just kind of sit there, internalize it, and I'll be like, all right, here's what's gonna happen. Once I get on the field, then it's a different person. So in that, yeah, we all have these different things that we tune into, whether it be hype. If you can take hype and turn it into action, awesome. If you can take action and turn it into hype, turn it into momentum, awesome. That's what we're looking for. But at the end of the day, no matter what type of coaching you subscribe to, you should be getting some type of customized conversation. You should have the techniques or things corrected in your business and in your life. And you should be able to have an opportunity to have a conversation with the coach that you're hiring so that you feel like you're getting your needs met and you feel like you're heading in the right direction. So guys, what are you hearing on this? Like, there's no wrong or right way to coach, but there is an effective way to coach. And I believe that, 22 years of coaching, 22 years of training, I believe that these are some of the things that have helped me become elite at what I do. And I will say this, that I can show you that I can coach you better than just sitting there telling you about it and selling myself. And so there's other people who sell themselves like, oh my God, this guy's amazing, but they can't coach. And so, trying to find that balance, trying to find kind of that happy medium. Oftentimes the best coaches aren't the best marketers, and the best marketers often aren't the best coaches. But if you can fall somewhere in between, you're going to be elite. So, guys, let me know what you're hearing. Let me know what you're saying. We're going to be back this Friday, and on Friday's show, we're going to be talking about spiritual fitness versus physical fitness, and how a lot of people I talk to, they put so much emphasis on their physical fitness that they are missing and creating a bigger gap in their spiritual fitness. And they're searching for something spiritually, but they actually think that they're going to find out getting it physically. And then there just becomes this bigger gap, bigger disconnect. And so we're going to talk specifically through that. and just some things that I'm doing in my own life to kind of balance that out. Because for me, man, I hit the physical, I hit the physical fitness side, physical health side so hard for, a good 30 years that it created a huge gap for me and turned it into something different. So we're going to take a deep dive into that. If nothing less, guys, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you being here. If you're watching the replay, let me know what you're learning from this. Let me know how we can get into a customized conversation that I can actually help you get from point A to point B, so that you can get some individualized instruction, and you can also learn some of the things that we're doing that are different from traditional group coaching models, so that you can see that you're actually going to get your needs met and get the support that you actually need. So guys, you guys have a great Wednesday, and we'll talk to you soon.
The purpose of this show is to guide you to realign with habits that get you to live the life you've always dreamed of. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with Jesse Ewing.